Hey everybody, Doc Reynolds. Last week we discussed with the class any issues that you encounter while working on your research paper draft. Among the issues that were raised included having to adopt a new writing style, information overload, being out of school for such a long time, forgetting writing styles, and the length of the paper, as well as conflicting ideas on how to put it all together. Well, here's the good news. Each of you has already written your papers. That's right, over the past 7 weeks you have been constructing the elements of your research papers. And for week 8, we're going to put it all together into your draft from your draft paper. Now your first section is the introduction, research question, and hypothesis. This section shall provide an overview of the topic that you're writing about in a concise synopsis sort of way. It's a puzzle that you're putting together. Normally this section is about 1 to 2 pages for this particular assignment, and we did this during week 2. Your next section is the review of literature. All research projects include a literature review to set the reader for what knowledge exists on the subject and the study that the student is actually looking into. A good lit review is a thoughtful study of what has been written and a summary of the arguments that exist and whether or not you as the author agree with them. At the end of the summary, you should always circle back to what the research question was and whether or not it's been answered. It's written in a narrative form, and it's generally 3 to 5 pages for this assignment, and we did this during week 4. Your next section is the methodology and research strategy. This section provides the reader with the description of how you're planning to conduct your research. It explains what research approach you've chosen and why. It describes any special considerations and defines any limitations and terms specific to your project. Now, since we're not operationalizing these methods or approaches that like we did in week 5 and 6, you're probably going to write a qualitative research paper. Simply state your working hypothesis and the variables that you've identified for analysis. And the length is going to be less than a page, and we did this in week 6. Your next section is the findings and analysis section. And this provides the results of your research and analytical arguments that will make the results of your findings. In a quantitative project, this would provide the results of data collection and analysis in terms of empirical terms. In a qualitative project like this one, you simply provide an analysis of the variables you identified and explain what your research findings are. You can also describe how your independent variables affected the dependent variables and so forth. And this section is generally going to be 1 to 3 pages for this particular assignment this week. Your next section is your conclusions. In this section, you're going to contain, concluding an adequate argument based on the research that you've done. And you're going to look at it in terms of your research question. Like any conclusion, it should provide a synopsis of the project and the strategy. The section should also offer suggestions on how to advance future research of this particular area you're in. Now, this section can be 1 to 2 pages, again, depending upon the scope of the project. Your final sections are your reference. This section will contain all references cited in Turabian format and alphabetically arranged. Entitle this section is References, as it should be a parenthetical citations throughout. And you can look at the Turabian guides to get an idea. So in terms of length, your paper for this class will be anywhere from 8 to 12 pages. Now, it doesn't mean that an 8-page paper is going to be any less than what a 12-page paper would be. Quite the contrary. It all depends on what content you've got in it. Now, this course provides you with that foundational knowledge that you need to take any future graduate course. Now, many of you will continue on and go on into your doctoral studies. And the news for you there is that you think that this research methods course is throwing a lot at you at a doctoral level, you're going to get another research method course. And you're going to add to that various statistics courses that you can actually use to test your hypotheses in whatever format you decide you're going to work that in. So, we're in week 8, we're in the final week of class. You all have a go-by. If you go to the course announcements, you'll see a hyperlink that gives you a week 8 sample paper. I strongly suggest that you take an opportunity, open that link, and look at that paper. Take your information that you've derived and follow that format. If you can do that and follow that format, then you'll do a fine job. Now, you all know how to get a hold of me. Shoot me a message through the in-class messages tool if you have any questions. I'm always here to help you. Last week of class, everybody. Let's make it good. Thanks.